5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello and welcome everyone to Truth, Beer, and Podsequences. Yay indeed.
Woot, woot.
Yay indeed, Julia. Yay, woot, woot. Indeed, Gnome.
What is a woot?
It was a, like the woot woot was a loud tailpipe on cars like 15 years ago.
Do you think she just made that up, or?
No, there was a whole, it was a viral thing before viral was a word.
You can look it up.
Whoop whoop.
Yep. Look it up.
I think viral has been a word for a very
For a long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, not
Yeah.
the same
I think it was.
Way back
it was
when
a few
malaria
years,
happened.
It was,
good old malaria.
I think it was a few years before the hide your kids, hide your wife whole thing. going on.
Yeah.
What?
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 What do you mean what?
What?
Antoine Dodson, you don't remember
Antoine
that?
Dodson.
Oh yeah.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
What? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Wow.
Okay.
We have to educate Gnome on some
All right.
old interneteries.
Did he have
after
these
this.
woot?
Was that
woot
after
pipes
Vine?
that
No.
you're talking about?
I want to say it was before Vine.
Before Vine?
I
Wow.
think.
Okay.
Like Tarzan?
Wow. Yeah.
Wow. This is a podcast where my hosts and I listen to and watch all the Cincinnati-based craft beer content from the previous week. We
And
get together.
super old internet videos.
And super old internet videos, yeah. And you know, Super Bowl commercials and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes.
Today we are back
Back! Oh,
Yay!
at Higher
Aw.
Gravity Summit Park. Thank you for being
Sounded
a
great.
gracious podcast host.
Kind of.
Hopefully, there aren't too many consequences from the hosts of the other podcasts and media and all that other stuff. And, you know, we're doing all right.
I mean, we did get called out,
Yeah.
but so I don't know if that's a podsequence
No.
or
No.
just a.
Unless they show up with Malort or something, we're fine.
Or mustard beer.
Yeah, or mustard beer.
If it's a good
Or mustard
beer,
gas.
that'd be good. Ooh, that'd be
That
bad.
would be a good consequence.
That would not be a good consequence.
No, that would be a great
bad.
It would,
Well,
it would be bad for you,
for
but
us.
So, yeah. So all the thoughts and opinions on this podcast are ours and ours alone. They do not reflect any entity which we may be affiliated with, such as full-time or part-time jobs or higher gravity. My name is Marco. I did introduce the other two. However, I did not give Julia her true name, which is the best co-host in Podcastlandia. And I did introduce the Gnarly Gnome in a sort of way.
And for the record, all of my thoughts and opinions are representative of Craft Parenting Pod.
Okay.
Excellent.
Very good.
Specifically, Daddy, what's his name? Daddy
Words.
Yeah, Daddy Words.
What are we talking about, Marco?
I want to talk about
Mustard gas? 'Cause
I think we're- I
have
think
lots of
I want to
We're
talk
past
about
that.
the NFL Deathmatch Challenge.
No, it's over.
No,
we
it's
don't have to
done.
talk about
It's
it
done.
ever again.
Talk about who won
Gotta
the
figure
NFL
out-
I
Deathmatch
don't-
Challenge.
I don't
Got to
think
figure
so.
out how many six-packs I owe, but
Oh my God, what an asshole. Come
Not
on.
one,
See-
not two, not three, not four, not five. But anyways,
6 goddamn sacks in that game.
yeah.
Closest without going over.
Anyway, all right. So
Dude, I'm
we don't have to talk about it.
do we deploy all of our six-packs at the same time? Or
Dude, I'm
do
just,
we...
I'm just buying him like a 30 rack of Cincy Light. That's all he's getting from me.
Okay. You're going Cincy Light? I was going to go Natty Light.
Dude, I'm getting him Natter Days. Fuck that.
I don't think you can get that anymore.
Aw.
So we're not like those fake ass podcasts out there. We actually do drink on this podcast. Most of the time it's craft beer. Today is no different.
You don't drink schnapps? Just throwing that out there.
We can.
No,
We're not against
There's
it.
only some podcasts that always drink some kind of schnapps.
This is true.
Except last night.
Except
No, so you just kind of have to twist
Schnapps-ish.
the definition of schnapps.
All right. Gnome, what do you have?
This is from Wolf's Ridge, some kind of a milk stout, maybe. What is it called?
yeah. I remember looking at it going, ooh, do I want one of those? It sounded really
I
good.
can't remember.
I
the
do
name.
not.
It's good.
Good.
I got 2 of them. It's my second one.
Nice.
All right.
Marco.
I am having the Amber Ale from BC's.
Excellent, Jerry.
Jerry.
Likewise, it is the was it the bottle shop beer?
Bottle Shop beer.
Bottle Shop
beer.
series, yeah.
Series.
Yes,
Bottle Shop
yes,
series.
yes. Fantastic. Really enjoyed.
Which we'll talk about, I guess, in one of the reviews
Recaps?
that we do.
Yeah.
Recaps.
Speaking of, we have 4 pieces of content to talk about tonight. We have half-ass beer review. We
Okay.
have another awesome video from Josh there.
That was fun.
We have Barstool Perspective.
Yeah.
We have finally, thanks to a certain someone, a new episode of Cincy Brewcast.
Hey, how about that?
Hell yeah. And we have the Weekly Pint.
TWP.
Yeah,
TWP.
you know Gnome. Yes. Where do you guys want to start?
Somewhere warm.
True. It did get a little wintry again.
It's like full on snowing right now.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I want to start with,
Wait, we don't get to start somewhere warm? This is bullshit.
yeah.
No. I don't
Let's
think
spin the
any-
wheel.
There it is.
Oh, look at that, everybody. You see where it landed, Julia?
Where
The
did it
Weekly
stop?
Pint.
Episode 248. It's really not as good anymore. So, mustard?
Mustard.
Yeah.
Yeah. This episode was technically not sponsored,
Technically not sponsored.
but is it only technically not sponsored because you didn't have a sign?
Yes.
You had all kinds of other flair going on.
It was testing some sponsorship.
Okay.
Testing.
Well, when you are done dicking around with your sponsorships, we will be very excited to be able to officially announce your official sponsor. All of the dicks were in studio. You had all
the
three
dicks.
flavors of dicks. You had a gorgeous dick shirt on.
Yeah.
But there were
Big
no
giant
like,
dicks behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't eat any dicks though.
I didn't want to start crunching. It's hard enough. So behind the scenes for anybody that ever wants to start a podcast, if you're starting a podcast by yourself, it sucks because you can't drink because you're trying to talk to people.
Yes.
If you're trying to drink and eat dicks at the same time, that's really tough. Why did it get so quiet?
I know, it's just like, why is it so quiet all of a sudden?
It's really
Yeah,
tough to do a podcast while you are both drinking and eating dicks.
And eating dicks, yeah. I can understand that.
I bet there are a lot of people that can relate.
I'm
Yeah.
sure, yeah. Especially that listen to this show.
This episode's schnapps substitute was
It was schnapsish.
Schnapshish? Yes. Wow, going full Sean Connery.
You okay?
Wow, no.
You're
Break.
playing
She just had a
both sides.
stroke.
I just had a stroke. 2019 Utopias, which is there any left in that
There's
bottle?
not
Like it
much
looks
left.
like I was going to
I
say.
think
I'm
there's
surprised
a tiny
you didn't
bit, but it's
just.
not much.
Oh man, I cannot wait to try the next version of Utopias.
Oh man, it's so good.
It's
I'm looking forward to it, actually. Thank you,
yeah.
Boston Beer, Sam Adams, for
Inviting
reaching
us
out
for a
and inviting us
tasting
for
and
tasting and possibly a
bottle.
commemorative bottle.
We just get the bottle. There's something. It's an empty bottle. It's like that is just a display.
That would be
unit.
our luck.
That would be
And it's
hilarious.
not even a real bottle. It's styrofoam. Like one of those
like literally a display unit. I would laugh so hard at that.
That would be, if I had that and just had a taste of the new Utopia, I'd be happy.
I'd probably be fine with that. Yeah. Let's see. Then you moved on to the beer after you enjoyed your Utopias.
Yes,
Try to pull
yes.
this back on track.
which is also a beer,
Correct.
Yeah.
despite my schnapsification.
Yes. New Ale's Mustard Lager,
Oh yeah.
which you were a little worried about.
You know, I
Did you not trust me when I said, hey,
no, I trust you. There's I think I
Well,
mentioned
that's your
this.
first mistake.
So even like Urban Artifact Pickle
Sure,
is the best
sure.
example. I know I love that beer. I've had that beer hundreds of times.
Oh, yeah.
I love that beer. Every time I put a can or a pint in front of me and I look at it, I'm like, oh God, it's a pickle beer. Like, that's gross. My
then
head
you
like
drink
goes in
it,
this thing and I'm like,
yeah.
but I know it's not gross, and then I dive into it. I'm like, oh yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
But like every time there's something in my head that's like, that shouldn't be a beer.
Yeah, it's like anybody who put a bet down on Kansas City. And you're like, oh, this is gross. I shouldn't do that. And turns out,
Yeah,
you
you
know what?
shouldn't have done
You
that.
shouldn't have done it.
Yep.
Yeah. So you talked about the beer, talked about the different, like why it probably shouldn't be a thing, but the fact that it does work out
Yeah.
makes it's part of the fun of craft. And you know,
Let's make it clear. I do not condone or think that anybody should turn a lager into a mustard lager. I think that's a terrible thing. It should not exist.
What style?
But it's freaking good.
Yeah, so what style would you
No, I don't-
approve of?
I don't know
to
the
do
mustard.
something like that,
I don't.
you
I
know?
don't think the mustard beer should probably ever exist. But since it does, I'm going to drink it and I'm going to love it.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
I guess same with pickle beer, though. It shouldn't
Yep,
exist,
shouldn't
but
exist.
because it doesn't, it's good.
How did we do this to beer? I don't know.
Well, you
But I'm
can go
going here
back.
for
The
it.
Gnarly Gnome has an episode where he actually chronicles how it happened.
Yeah,
This is very true. Very true.
I'm here for it.
Then we kind of turn to what really was the meat of the episode. Beer commercials.
meat and mustard.
Yeah.
Yes, meat and mustard. You see, tying it all together here. Super Bowl commercials, specifically beer commercials, and how some of them kind of become their own thing, and how some of them, like, they used to be so good, and anymore they're not. Like, I think more of the emphasis is on individual social media posts anymore than actual
There are
commercials. But
there are
who
still some
watches-
companies that are doing commercials good. Doritos, shout out to Doritos.
Yeah.
There was another one that I saw that I did not catch during the game that I saw afterwards that was great, about an alien got smashed in a door or something. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
No.
No.
It was good.
Also, shout out to a couple of beers who actually talked about that. They had a YouTube episode where they tried each of the beers that had a commercial in the Super Bowl and then gave a preview of what that commercial was going to be. Obviously, none of them were local, so we're not going to spend time talking about that, but it did correlate to this.
Do you think that some of the dialing back of putting focus on making a viral or timeless commercial is just because of streaming services and just commercials aren't what they used to be anymore?
I mean, people have figured out smarter ways to market their product. If you want to market your product, you don't do it on a TV commercial. That's the dumbest way to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's lots of more targeted ways that you can advertise something.
That's fair.
But I miss it.
You brought up, and we actually watched, which I loved the graphic, by the way, the graphic you put up for the Weekly Pint of the TV with the static on it.
Thank you.
And then you played the
Yeah, it was
commercials
great.
within that. Absolutely loved it. Reliving some of those old commercials, like the Clydesdale horses but which those have kind of always been or have been a part of their commercials for a very, very long thing. The Magic Refrigerator, which I had forgotten, like these commercials, I'd forgotten about them. And I'm like, oh my God, I remember this. And then the one that terrified me the most was bringing back the Bud Dry, the Doobie-Doo, the penguins, which, oh my God. God, there was a whole series of those. It wasn't just one,
Very consciously did not include "What's up?" because there were several commercials in that marketing strategy, and then the Dilly Dilly did not put any of those in there because screw that.
But it was still so much fun to be like, holy crap. I remember, like, some of these were such cultural icons.
Well, there are some
there,
that were
and
some that predated me a little bit too, so that I don't have that memory of them. Like Spuds McKenzie,
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember.
I thought
Those
about
are
that instantly.
really, really great commercials, but like I don't remember them, so like I don't connect with them the same way.
When was the bitter beer face commercial?
Oh.
When were those? Those
But-
would have been.
but were
I
they
don't
Super
know.
Bowl?
I don't know if they were.
One of the other things I was thinking about too was that the Clydesdales themselves, the commercials with the Clydesdales, are certainly extremely nostalgic, but this one wasn't. It was just flat. It didn't. It wasn't inspiring. Where
You mean this year's Clydesdale commercial?
This year's Clydesdale
that's-
commercial
yeah,
wasn't
I
inspiring.
agree.
That's what gets under my skin. It's like you've got this
Like-
thing.
But these Budweiser Clydesdale commercials were nostalgic. They hit your heart. They made you feel inherently great about the American spirit. So you didn't need Matthew McConaughey to and I get there's a different context because of the terrorist act that happened in New Orleans, but
Yeah.
but Anheuser-Busch was doing that. And that's when they were an American company.
True.
Do you think that's why?
I think that it can't be ignored that if dollars are spent and it's owned by a company that's not American, they don't necessarily put that as high on the list.
Maybe.
For anybody who's never been in the vicinity of a Clydesdale, they are amazingly massive creatures.
They
They're kind
are.
of terrifying.
Yes, they are.
Massive creatures. So when I lived in Florida, we lived like 10 minutes away from Busch Gardens, which was an Anheuser-Busch sponsored park at the time. I don't know if it still is or not, but they had a hospitality center.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And you could get free Budweiser, and you could walk the stables and see Clydesdales.
Yeah.
They are huge, massive creatures.
Big ass workhorses, yeah.
Like, I don't know how to explain how just massive these horses are, and they're pretty majestic.
Look, I mean, fuck AB InBev, screw big beer. I get it. If you're ever in St. Louis, tour the brewery. Take a tour of the brewery. It's incredible. Not only do you get to see the actual brewery that is still the same brewery from when it started. They have a stable there too with the horses and all that, and it is incredible. And then probably 45 minutes outside of town is where the big farm is, where all the Clydesdales are, and like it's cool stuff. Like it does make you want to be a fan of Budweiser,
Right?
And so if Budweiser was an American company, like Yuengling, I could see being like, okay, like if in a pinch I walk into a bar and there's no craft, I'm okay drinking this.
Right.
Then you talked a bit about what's coming up on all of your different platforms. YouTube, the
Lots of
podcast,
stuff,
Cincy Brewcast, some Drinking with the Gnome potentially coming up, and I am incredibly excited about absolutely all of it. It'll be great.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
New year, new gnome.
Same old Gnome.
Which means
More stuff.
there we go. There we go. I do have a sip, a sniff, and a multiple choice question.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. What do you guys want first? Count or
Let's go in order. Snip, sniff, and
Snip.
Snip. I'm not snipping anything.
like we're gonna sip, sniff, and
Multiple choice?
Multiple choice.
All right. There were 20 sniffs in this episode.
Okay, we can go
That
out of
tracks.
order, but
That
that's fine.
tracks.
There were no snips.
That's
Zero
fine.
snips in this episode. There were 7 sips in this
Okay.
episode, so
All
that's
right.
a total of 27 countables.
Yep. Okay.
54 ounces if you're playing our drinking game, which is 3.375 pints
All right.
during this episode of the Weekly Pint.
All right.
Oh.
Let's do it. Let's
How long was it?
drink. I didn't write that down.
About an hour?
About an hour.
Yeah, a little under an hour, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't the longest of episodes, but it wasn't the shortest of episodes. So,
Yeah.
and then my multiple choice question. What biggest dickest box is Gnome getting next?
Oh, yes.
Is it A, a mixed pack of dicks? Is it B, hot and salty dicks? Or is it C, all salty dicks?
Here's the D.
God
Ooh, look at that
dang.
thing.
Oh,
Mas Grande Dicus Maximus.
bullshit.
What is that flavor? Is it like jalapeno lime?
Taco Bell flavored.
Like taco seasoning, kind of like a.
Like Taco Bell, like how all the food just tastes the same. It's just in different packaging.
Okay.
Yeah, just Taco Bell flavored.
I would eat that. I would eat that dick.
I probably. All right. Any other notes on the Weekly Pint before we move on to our other pieces of content?
9.
What do you say we stick to all the gnomage and go for a Cincy Brewcast?
Okay.
All right. Volume 10, episode
Yeah.
19.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Higher Gravity keeps evolving, and I love them for it.
I do.
It is fantastic. It was Jason and Nick. Nick kind of had, if you watch the YouTube version,
I did.
Nick was a little hidden through most of it, which I found absolutely
We
hilarious.
found that it's better to put things in front of his face.
Sometimes that's the way things need to be.
Better,
Yeah.
better for
You know,
for YouTube views.
one of the first questions you asked them are hype beers and breweries still a thing being chased? Or has that kind of faded out? And it's kind of a yes and no. Some breweries still continue that hype, and they are still, I don't know if they're as sought as they used to be because distribution is so much better for a lot of them. But some of the places that aren't local are still absolutely killing it, like the example you gave, Maine Beer Company.
Yeah.
Lunch is on tap here right now, and it's one of those, every time you see it, it's like, I need to have that. That is still an absolutely exceptional beer.
It is.
And
But there's places that sit on the shelf and just gathers dust.
That's true. That's true as well. But when dinner shows up on tap, that always goes pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But it's so selective. It never shows up. Like it's so few and far between.
But I think it's also like it's very focused on the place, which I think is kind of where we ended up with it. Like there are places that can foster that excitement about a beer, and there's other places that'll just throw it on a shelf and not
really tell you,
not talk about it,
Yeah.
not do the other end of things. And unfortunately, most places are not doing the other end of things.
Very true. Very, very true. From that, it kind of moved into, the hypes. Talked about like line share culture. And I know that that's been brought up on several podcasts in the last month or two.
Yeah.
And is that culture gone? Has that completely shifted?
I don't think it is.
You
I will
really
still
miss-
share my fishing line, my laundry line. I do not share, though, just for the record.
What about a drinking line? What about
I share it
a
every
beer
week.
share
Yeah, I
in a
share it
line?
every week. It's 5, 6, 7, 70 drink.
I was going to say, yeah, that's the number.
Yeah, the drinking line.
All right, fair point. If there was kind of that re-emergence of the line share culture, would you be willing to stand in line for a beer knowing that bottle share is going to happen? Because I think it's more.
There's
Because I want to say it's
different
more
things.
about
So-
that than getting the beer itself for a lot of people.
Maybe.
It's that community aspect and that.
Would I be willing? Of course. Of course I'm willing. Would I, like... Is there some kind of a release or a line share or something that would, like, make me want to do it? That's a whole separate thing. Like, I don't want to get up early in the morning and go out there when it's cold and stand in the cold and drink beer with a bunch of people. I don't know that I want to do that anymore.
Okay.
I will, and I'll probably have fun doing it, but I don't want to.
So what would draw you to doing that? Is it the beer being released more so than being part of that kind of community experience of that bottle share that happens before whatever the beer is that's being released? Does that make sense?
It's definitely a piece of both for me. Like, it would have to be a beer that is exciting. It would have to be a brewery that I believe in, a brewery that I love, and then there would have to be people that I'm like, I want to stand out here in the cold for several hours with these people and drink beer with them.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it'd be kind of a piece of all of that.
Gotcha. That
And all
makes
of those things come together like some kind of Voltron.
Yeah, it's a weird.
I love Voltron.
They are, and when I say they, Nick and Jason are seeing trends change with the younger generation. There's less overall alcohol consumption, and it's more on the THC, CBD, and even just straight non-alcoholic options, which again is something that's been talked about for the last couple months on the different podcasts. Does it make sense for them to bring in all of the different non-alcoholic? And when I say non-alcoholic, I'm throwing THC and CBD in that. Throwing as many of those different types of SKUs on the shelves, or is it better to do what Higher Gravity does and figure out what do our customers actually want to buy?
Right.
Like, sure, we could put 50 different ones out there, and people might buy like one or two of all those, but then they're going to gravitate towards the two or three
Right.
that
They're still
they've always
the ones that are the
enjoyed.
best. What I think is like so great about Higher Gravity is that they're not afraid to bring stuff in if people are chasing it and want it. But they don't just completely dump every ounce of their personality into that. And what I think is more interesting about young drinkers is that they're not sticking to one thing. They are extremely flighty about what they're drinking, and what they're drinking today is probably not going to be the same thing that they're drinking in 3 years. And Higher Gravity is really great about being able to kind of adjust and change and evolve to meet those needs of whoever is in here.
But hasn't that
without
always
changing.
kind of been the case, though? Like, not just the younger generation.
No.
Like, just say 7 years
Not at
ago,
all.
everyone, I say everyone, air quotes, all that, is drinking the New England IPAs, the orange juice beers. And then a few years go by, and all of a sudden that's switching to something else. And now
You're
it's
seeing
falling
it's
into
the same
law.
people. It's that same group of people that were drinking the New England IPAs, and they went to seltzers, and then they went to these THC beverages. Like, it's the same people that are doing that.
So why is the focus so much on the younger generation when it
Because
feels
it's
like
the-
that all encompassing?
They're the ones that drink the
Because
most.
well,
So-
and it's also that's the greatest number of people.
That's
now,
fair.
because
That's
as you get
true.
older,
Yeah,
they're
that's true.
fewer.
Your doctor
right?
starts telling you you're supposed to drink less.
You know, so but yeah,
You
that's
only
the
punch so many doctors in the face for telling you that before you run out of doctors.
Yeah, but that's the greatest pool of numbers.
fair.
Sorry, Dr.
So
Jones.
that's why.
I didn't mean to do that. It was just a reaction.
But the thing is, I mean, for like beer drinkers, I mean, you a lot of times you're on an arc or a cycle where it's, you know, whatever the arc or cycle is. But for beer drinkers, you go in like maybe start with a Pilsner and then you hit an amber and then you hit, you know, something else and dark beer to finish the night or whatever it is. So there's variety in all those taps, right? That would happen, and not. Taking outside the fact that a lot of places sometimes would have just nothing but hazy IPAs or whatever, or you'd walk in and there's nothing but stouts, which doesn't happen anymore. That just it doesn't, because you're not diverse enough for the various amounts of drinkers. But to try and catch all of these that are sort of swirling around all these different things. I mean, you know, a place like Higher Gravity is perfect for that. You know, and where a lot of other places just aren't. You know, you go to a craft brewery and there's one non-alcoholic can or two, and that's all. And so,
And Higher Gravity has like 30.
Well,
Yeah.
just the like Higher Gravity is not afraid to change things like
Right,
quickly.
right.
Like if
Sure.
they put something in and like people are like, man, this sucks. That's fine. We're not going to order it again. And then
Right,
they'll quickly
right.
switch to something else.
Yeah.
Or they'll put 3 out there and see which one kind of works the best. And,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't seem like a lot of other bars is what I'll lean towards.
well, the care and
The breweries
curation,
are
it just
good.
goes back to that, right? The care and curation, the attention to all of it. You know, the feedback from the bartenders, the sell-through data that, you know, Jason and Nick are looking through every single day. You know, they make educated decisions, but they also care about the thing that they're trying to provide. And it's the experience, it's the offering, and it's the thing that they have, and the packages are on draft as well.
This is also the only store that I will grab a 6-pack off the shelf and not check the dates. Only store in the
Yeah.
city that I'll do that
Yeah.
in.
Same.
Well, only 2 stores in the city that I'll do that in.
Yeah. I think that part of what helps Higher Gravity to continue to evolve and change almost on a dime when they need to is one of the other things you guys talked about. The bartenders that they bring in want to have conversations with the
Yeah.
customers. They want to talk to them and figure out, oh, what are you enjoying? What are you? So they have that as well. It's not just the raw data of what are the sales numbers and what are the new things the distributors are kind of bringing in and what seems to be a trend, but what do our customers, the people that are actually spending money in our place, what are they buying? What do they want to see? Let's make sure that we are catering to that with the kind of caveat that as long as it's, you know, the quality product that Higher Gravity wants to bring
Right.
in. Like if we, you know, came in and just like all we want is high life. They're not going to.
You know what?
They're not going to
They
put a
would.
High Life tap on.
If enough people were
Yeah,
coming in here,
yeah,
like
I
you know,
guess,
like
I
we
guess.
the High Life is really a thing for us. We want
We
that.
really want to-
They might.
They
I think they
might.
would.
They
Yeah,
would.
yeah.
If that, you know, groundswell was there, they would. I
you know
believe
what?
that.
If they did, I don't think it would change the feel of the place at all. Like it
Not
would
even the
feel
slightest.
like it would. It would still feel like your local craft bottle shop. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it, but it's amazing.
That's
It
what
is
I love is
amazing.
every change that they make, like the soul and everything about this place is still exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's really hard to take a place and turn it into a coffee shop for half the day and have it still feel the same way. That's tough to do.
I agree. And they
did.
knocked it out of the park. Yeah. Kind of going back to the THC beverages, the question was brought up: should all breweries be making a THC beverage?
No.
And a lot of the local breweries, like they talked to Jason and Nick, and right, I agree. I think that if they want to try, go for it. But know that we already have 2 big local players that are killing it in the THC beverage market. You've got to be prepared that
I do think
yours
that
might not stick.
I
if
do
you put
think
it
there's room for a couple other players, locally speaking,
Sure.
to have something.
Would they have the
Especially
same success if they distribute as well, though, or do you think it would be more of a
locally? Yeah, if you want to
Okay.
distribute locally, and
Okay.
you got to find a way to be different than
Sure.
those two. Like
Sure.
Urban has a very distinct personality, and 50 has a very distinct personality
Yeah.
to their beverages. You've got to have something that's different than that, and I think that there are some other options.
Kind of transitioning from that, they talked about their potential third and fourth locations, which I know that we have brought up on our show many a times.
Yeah.
So where would they go to? What would cause them to open another location? And are those talks in progress? Yeah, gotta listen. I say watch this episode, but if you're
can
more
watch.
of a podcaster, watch or listen to this episode to kind of see where Higher Gravity might end up next.
Yeah.
Healthy competition with Mad Tree Parks and Rec. Is it even competition? If it is it a healthy competition?
It's not the same thing because Mad Tree, it's Mad Tree. But if, Yard House opened across the way, that would be worse for them because Mad Tree only sells Mad Tree beer.
Right.
Yeah.
Higher Gravity sells 400 different types of beer.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
the format's different. They have food. Higher Gravity has dicks. But I mean, it's different. I think that's a healthy play.
There is still some aspect of competition that has to be acknowledged.
Of course.
Sure, yeah,
of course.
yeah.
If I'm standing in the middle of the field and I'm like, I need a beer right now, and I look one direction and there's Mad Tree, and I look the other direction and there's Higher Gravity,
And Mad
I
Tree's
have to
saying
make
you-
a decision
yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
which
Yes.
direction I go.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Unless I'm going to have 2 beers, which I'm going to have 2 beers. but there is still some aspect of competition to it. But the bigger question is, does having another place bring in more people and build both
I
of
think
you
so.
up?
I think
and I'm a
that
firm
is the
believer that rising ships raise all tides. I'm a firm
Absolutely.
believer
Yeah.
in that.
Especially once you introduce food runners to
right.
the park.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that this is a positive for the park. This is a positive for the businesses around here. I think if you ask Brown Dog or if you ask the overpriced taco place over there, what is it called? Tahona.
Is that the one that tried to get the cops to take
Yep.
me?
Brown Dog's the one that tried to get the cops to take us.
All right.
You guys talked about the house beer from a former, again, still saying competitor isn't quite right, but from BC's that
Even they would.
When they
even
were-
they
They illustrated
said-
that nicely. Yeah.
That was such a beautiful, brilliant conversation and description of the two spaces, even when they were both in place as bottle shops, both doing on a high level
Bottle
the
shoppery?
same thing. But as you looked into kind of the personalities and all that they were developing, there were some pretty big differences.
You can
between
say
the
they were
two.
doing the same thing. It was different.
Sure, yeah,
It was
right,
different.
right, yeah. Well, again, top level, they both sold bottles in retail, and they both had taps to get stuff on draft. Top level, they were doing the same thing.
Same but different.
Once you get below that, yeah, there were absolutely differences. But I love that they still have this friendship, this partnership, to where now BC's is making their rotating house beer, which will change seasonally depending on how things are selling and all that, which I absolutely love. And I love that they're going to be working to figure out what style beer is going to make sense for whatever the next season that we're coming into.
I've heard
Yeah.
some theories.
I have too. There were a couple theories thrown out on the podcast. If you want to know what,
Can I suggest that they not do Schwartz beer?
Warm weather's
no,
coming.
they should absolutely
Milk
do
stout.
Schwartz beer. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should do that.
What about a big old imperial
you know what
stout
makes it
for
good?
a
The
July?
lactose. That's good. It makes
Oh
it good.
God, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Marco.
Imperial milk stout. Now we're talking.
That's what you
Yes,
need.
with coffee.
Imperial
Yeah.
glitter milk stout.
And
Marshmallows.
Lucky Charms.
Hey,
Yeah.
we were on the same page.
Yeah.
Talked about beer vent because how can you talk to Higher Gravity and not bring up beer vent? Because I think that is one of the biggest things outside of just being an amazing bottle shop that they're known for. Mm-hmm. I do feel like they sold it a little bit short, just in my own opinion, how they said it's a great marketing tool, which it is. But I think the bigger thing is the community aspect that they definitely mentioned.
Well, they mentioned it, and they mentioned some of the cool stories, but I agree that they also, yes, they didn't they didn't pat themselves on the back for what community they're growing by doing it.
Yeah.
However, they do know that and will acknowledge that community is a big reason why they do it.
Yes, absolutely. And some of the stories that they shared about, the people that drink the beer in the beer vent box and how they communicate with like their friends, family members,
Right.
that type of thing with the beer. Like, it's fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. It is my favorite season of the entire year, and can't wait for July 1st to be able to pre-order my 2025 beer
Heck
vent
yeah.
box. Yeah. What else do we have? Upgrades coming to the north side patio space, which is going to be very exciting. You can hear what they are talking about with that. And
Mariachi bands.
And check
Just-
out all the time. Check out their Food Truck Thursdays down at Northside. I believe it's from 5 to 9. Mostly sea cuisine for now as they're starting out. Past couple weeks, weather's been absolute shit. But support 2 local businesses in one.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Do that. And then check out their new...
You could support more than that. You could
Oh,
go
absolutely.
and have a beer
All
and then
the-
have some food and another beer
Yeah.
and then go somewhere else and have another
Walk
beer
down to
and then
Urban
get some more
and
food
then,
and then get another beer.
100%.
Do all kinds of stuff.
100%. And check out their new trivia format. It's hosted all in-house. It should be Adam, everyone's favorite bartender, Adam, doing the trivia on Northside on Tuesdays, unless he's sick, and then it's Jason. And then in Blue Ash on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Win prizes.
Sounds like
Have
fun.
fun. Absolutely. That's all the notes that I had and that Marco had, because I kind of was reading off
My
of both
notes,
of our notebooks.
yeah.
Anything else before we get to the sip count and the multiple choice question for this episode?
No.
No.
All right. In this 1 hour and 24-minute episode, which is the Patreon timestamp, I believe the public timestamp is a few minutes shorter than that.
Okay.
So you may get some extra sips in this count because of that. There were a total of 55 sips.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that is 110 ounces according
Yeah, it
to our
is.
drinking game.
Oh, my.
6.875 pints.
Hell yeah.
That's like a pint every 10 minutes.
Well, that's working.
Pretty good.
That's pretty damn
That's
good.
working.
Pretty damn good. And then the multiple choice question. Anyway, what restaurant makes all of them, and by them, Jason, Gnome, and Nick, mad? Is it A, Applebee's? Is it B, Chili's? Or is it C, the Rusty Bucket?
Oh, everyone, there's a D.
my.
Got it.
Is it Panda Express? Because they don't have Panda anywhere on the fucking menu.
It's
I've looked.
It
It's
is
a
a
farce.
hidden menu item.
Oh.
They 100% have it. Yeah. You can get
Oh.
Panda.
You just have-
Fried. You can't
you
get it
just
like
have to
grilled.
ask
It's
for it?
it's
Oh,
frozen.
well,
Yeah,
shit.
it's fried.
Some bullshit.
Well, do we want to roll on through to the last 2 shows, or do we want to take a quick break?
Gotta take a break. Gotta
All
pee.
right.
Gotta get some beer.
We'll be right back. So, Marco,
Yeah.
what you putting in your mouth?
I got some hot dicks.
Hell yeah, you do.
These are so good.
It's ridiculous how good these dicks are.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about Barstool Perspective or half-ass beer review?
Ooh.
Yeah. Both excellent choices. But only
go.
one can go last.
Let's go half-ass beer review.
Half-ass? All right. Half-ass beer review of Fretboard Brewing Company's Fugee and Barrel Age Fugee.
All
This
Two good
was
beers.
2 very, very good beers. Josh was flying solo on this episode, and
I feel like he was kind of half-assing it.
I think he always half-asses.
I get it.
yeah.
Oh, man. Jeez. Right over the... Oh, man.
And I do want to
makes
start this
sense.
off by saying you need to follow the Half-Ass Beer Review YouTube channel, because not only do you get great beer review at full episodes, that sounded so great, but the shorts that he puts out are oftentimes clips that aren't in the full video, so it's like bonus content that you get, much like the crunching is bonus for this part of the show.
It's not bonus. It's critical to the episode.
You know what? It kind of is. It kind of is, because... Anyway, in this episode, Josh had a severe Mandela effect concerning breakfast cereals. Like, he's like, did this one actually exist, or was it in some alternate universe to where Waffle Crisp isn't actually a thing?
I've never heard of Waffle Crisp before.
It was honeycomb shake, or no,
I saw it in the video. I saw it in the video.
Yeah, there was some waffle cereal that we had. I mean, it's been decades, but I don't remember what it was called. I don't know if it was Waffle Crisp
And
or if it was called something
Sinbad
else.
was the sponsor. Was the face of the
Absolutely
thing.
of the genie.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I was growing up, we didn't get any of those fancy cereals.
You just got like the Malteos
Yeah,
and stuff like
yeah.
that. Yeah, I mean, they still
If
tasted
they were lucky.
fine. In this episode of Half-Ass Beer Review, Josh has had Fugee before, it sounded like. But it's been a bit. It's been a while, or as Mark goes,
It's been a while.
doesn't sound the same with dicks in your mouth. But you know what? I appreciate the effort there.
Yeah.
I kind of threw that one on you, so I apologize for you.
No, I wanted to do it with dicks in my mouth.
But he had never had the barrel-aged version before, so
Right.
it was a very cool experience for him. When he drank the original Fugee, the non-barrel age, his comment was how excited he was on how the beer really showcased the sausage grease that is used in the brewing process to really make it a breakfast beer. Normally on Half-Ass Beer Review, he does a hard pour, and if you don't like hard pours, Josh doesn't like you.
Yeah.
So you
get that.
you need to figure out where your stance is on that type of beverage pouring situation.
Know your
and,
pour stance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're either for it or you're against it. There was no big drink shown for the OG Fugee because they always do big drink, little drink. Little drink, big drink. I said that backwards. There was no big drink shown. He enjoyed the waffleness of both beers, which, I don't know. I guess I never looked at it as being reminding me of waffles. It was just a flat out like pancake breakfast buffet.
I never got the pancake.
Buffet.
Really?
It's all the toppings.
I don't know. There's just something absolutely amazing about that beer. He cracked open the barrel-aged version, and he was absolutely blown away by how well the barrel
really
was
good.
balanced to the breakfast of the beer, which I agree. And we've talked about this a million times on the
Yeah,
show.
we have.
Barrel-aged beers, to me, are very... My stance on them is temperamental. I still want to taste beer. That's what I bought. I bought a beer.
Yes.
I didn't buy a bourbon. So I want to taste some of the barrel, but I don't want it to just be that heat, that alcohol from that spirit is all that I'm getting. And Barrel Aged Fugee does such a phenomenal job of that. This may be, the Barrel Aged version rather, might be his favorite breakfast beer of all time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Every beer is a breakfast beer if you want it to be.
Oh, absolutely. But some just
True.
taste more like breakfast than other beers. I
Right.
think is how
That's why
it
you
was
guys
trying to be
record this
framed.
show at 7 a.m. Just
Right.
to
Yeah,
test that
Yeah.
theory.
Yep.
Well, and also because Higher Gravity Summit Park has coffee as well, so we can zebra stripe coffee and beer.
I don't zebra stripe
just-
anything.
Yeah.
This was another great episode. Again, it was about 12 minutes, I believe, a little under that. His videos are great. The shorts are great. It is absolutely a joy to have stumbled across this channel, as we have said before.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Can't wait to hang out with them again when they make the trip down south.
For sure.
Sniffs and sip count
Okay.
for this episode. Not a ton, 3 of each.
Okay.
So 6 total countable.
All right, 12 ounces.
12 ounces, just shy of a pint. Little more than just
In
shy of a pint.
12
but-
minutes? That's
yeah,
good.
that's perfectly
That's
fine. That's perfectly fine.
I'm going to put out the challenge that the next time they come down, they need to not choose where they go. They need to leave it up to us of where they go.
How about that?
I do have a multiple choice question
All right.
for this episode of Half-Ass Beer Review. What holiday is January 30th? Is it A, Bourbon Barrel Aged Beer Day? Is it B, Poppin' Off Day? Or is it C, Josh's birthday?
Oh.
All right. Or is it D, everyone?
Oh,
Ooh.
That's right. Bringing the D-Day.
all right. Do either of you have...
Strong like bull.
Nine.
Do either of you have any other notes on Half-Ass Beer Review before we move on to the final piece of content we're going to talk
It's
about
the
tonight?
final content.
I don't have any other notes, no.
Okay. Barstool Perspective.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
February 7th, 2025. In this episode of Barstool Perspective, they talked about how peas suck, but maybe they can help make sour beer quicker.
That was a
Would
dumb...
you drink a pea beer?
No.
Pea sour beer?
Yeah, of course.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, no. First of all, I'm the wrong.
They don't have lactose in them.
I'm the wrong
Peas don't
audience.
have-
No, I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking it. But I'm the wrong audience. So I'm not. I'm the guy who's like, oh, it's like I don't like sour beer. It tasted too sour. Like that's not. Although.
Well, what about just say not even a sour, but if peas can help make any beer quick or whatever, would you drink a?
I just got done telling you I would drink cocaine
Yes,
beer
I'm
if somebody
asking
told
Marco,
me it was
'cause
okay.
Marco
So
is
yeah, I'm
very
drinking it.
like he
Well,
has more standards.
For me,
standards
for me,
are on a different
the
level.
problem is the bugs and the
Yeah.
lactose and all this
Yeah.
other stuff. If you're telling me I take pea flour,
Like a lager
and,
made
and
or
I
something, I don't
can
know.
enhance some sort of a property in a traditional beer, I'm willing to try it.
So you're like vehement, like absolutely not, is purely the sour side of that, which they didn't mention that peas could be used to make any other type of beer quicker. It was specifically sour beers in this story. But okay, I mean,
Well, there is some
Sour-
there is some weird stuff that's going to happen with yeast that's already happening.
Sure.
There's that
Yeah.
sour Vissier yeast that is regular yeast, but it produces sour, and like there's
yeah,
that's
they're
safe.
yeah, absolutely. They talked about tariffs, which
That's what
I
they
don't
do.
even want to. I don't even know where to start with that one.
Nobody does because we don't really know
'Cause
what's
we
going to
don't-
happen.
Right.
Well-
Although they did say that there are 45% of the U.S. liquor exports to Canada, so that could be a
Can
major
it?
Canada if they change things. Yeah.
Can't
So
it?
the assumption
Are you a
is-
Mexican or a Mexicant? Actually, you can't.
The assumption we're making is that everybody that's in Canada or wherever else are just going to stop drinking bourbon.
No.
No.
Because
right.
they want to drink Crown Royal instead. That's
Right.
not going to happen.
No.
But have
That's
you seen-
crazy.
But have you
No,
seen
but
the
it's gonna
pictures, though? A
cost
lot of
25%
places
more.
are
It'll cost
pulling-
more.
Yeah, but a lot of stores I've seen pictures of. You know,
Well,
on
I
the
saw a picture of
internet.
one.
I saw a picture. It
The
looked
interwebs?
like it was more than one store. Like the backgrounds are, but you know, again, who the hell knows anymore?
Here's what happens. You can choose to not stock it.
Sure,
The places that stock it are going to,
be charging.
and they're going to sell out.
Yeah.
Sure.
The true problem is in sort of the materials costs. You know, cans come from Canada. Glass
Aluminum.
comes from Mexico.
That's where they got their name.
Yeah. They are Canadians.
Ooh.
You know, glass comes from Mexico, cans from Canada. I mean, so many things are going to, from a raw material standpoint, just go up in price.
Right.
Agave spirit, we talked about it before. I mean, anybody that has an agave spirit that they're bottling here in the United States, that's going to go up in price. All of your import spirits, like tequila, obviously, same thing, except it's bottled in Mexico. Those things are going to go up in price. So much more across the board is going to go up.
There are things that we are not making here. That's the stuff that I'm more concerned about. Is the stuff
Yeah.
that just does not exist here.
We don't have the raw material.
Yeah,
We don't have the
like,
facilities.
the stuff
we
that
don't have-
does exist here. Like, fine, I get it. We want people to buy that instead of something that
Sure.
is made somewhere else. I understand that logic, but the things that we cannot
cannot
make here,
do. Right.
But the thing is, we can make cans here.
But
can, yeah.
We
can't-
don't.
We can't mine aluminum here, I believe. Like, I don't think that we have in the U.S. Is there.
drill, baby, drill. Isn't that what we're supposed to do? Can you drill for aluminum? Is that how you? how does aluminum?
I honestly don't know. That's a good, I don't
Those
know.
things
I
that
think it comes from the moon.
I'm outside of
That's cheese.
tequila, which can't come from America.
But agave can.
Agave
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
But those examples are things that used to happen in America a long time ago, and we decided it was just cheaper to
Have them done elsewhere,
have them done elsewhere and then import.
What is? This is. It's probably going to get way too political. But what's more important? Like, how do we do this? Like, what is the most important thing that is it to save a buck as a consumer?
So that we can afford to buy the things that we want to buy, or is it?
How do we change something long term to create these things here? How do we do that? Because this is a craft beer podcast, which is a group of people that are drinking a product that is not the cheapest version of that product,
Right?
Because it's made here.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's made by the people that are around the corner. It's a little bit more expensive than the multinational bullshit that's out there.
Because
You can
they
drink
get
cheaper
things
if you
in
want to.
bulk the way that.
And
yeah.
we don't care because that's not why we're drinking it.
I think what's interesting is to not go into the specifics or the nitty gritty of everything from toilet paper to toothpaste. But I think that you're right to point out that we're willing to pay more for a beverage that's locally made. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a leap if you think that everybody that does that is willing to pay a surcharge or a higher amount to make sure that everything we have in our life is American made, because it's almost impossible. Is it impossible? Probably not.
Well, that's not at all what I'm saying, because the idea is that things that aren't made here are going to be more expensive. Things that aren't coming from here, it's going to be stuff that is, has products coming from somewhere else. The stuff that is all generated here should, in theory, be cheaper.
It's not. But it's not. Well, it's not now.
Could it be?
And,
right.
And with the tariffs, could it be? Possibly. But
not for a long time, though, just because of building up the needed infrastructure and everything to make it able to be fully, like, start to finish, American made, produced, sourced, all of that.
Yeah.
Well,
that's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money.
Clearly, it hasn't worked with beer.
Right. Oh, right. Absolutely. To kind of get back into this, few more notes, because we're at almost 2 hours for 4 shows, which is exactly how we like to do things here at Truth, Beer, and Consequences. Yes.
Subscribe to Patreon to get all of that other bullshit.
Oh my God, yes. I'm going to cut this down to like a 1 hour long episode.
At least 40% of the extra 60% you get is good.
How many minutes of the extra do you think is crunching on dicks?
Well, I'd say
this specific
17
episode?
minutes.
Oh.
17 minutes of crunching.
Yeah.
I was going to say about 7% of the extra content, yes. Mike did the math. If Sundance Festival comes to Cincinnati, he is sleeping with Demi Moore.
He did.
Yes.
Okay.
Very, very, very critical to be aware of. So just...
It's an interesting pick.
Yeah, it kind of is.
I think it tracks.
Fine, but
it tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If my wife was fine with it and Demi Moore came to me and she said, I really need to sleep with you, I probably would.
I'd be like, Budweiser is no longer domestic, it's American.
Yeah. Well, no.
It's complicated. That is a very complicated thing.
Relationship that's going on there, but I thought that Brett and Mike did a great job of trying to explain why they're trying to say this, why they're going to put American on the cans instead of domestic, and in some strange convoluted way, I see where they're coming from, but it doesn't make it like accurate or right.
I mean, the fact that there are breweries here in America
it's made
true.
Here. Yeah, it's made here.
Yeah.
And that maybe should mean something. But at the same time,
I believe that
all of the money is going away.
Right.
No, I believe also it should. Right. And this is something I've talked about over and over and over again, especially since COVID. Look, they employ American workers. They employ an American workforce.
And use American products.
They use American products. At one time, there were AB InBev was buying 25% of the domestic rice crop. It's absolutely a company that employs and uses a lot of American people and resources. Mm-hmm. They're not American owned.
Right.
And that was a enormous shot to the gut to America when that decision was made.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think they're trying really hard, or about to try really hard, to try to get us to play on our, nostalgia and our heartstrings.
Well, I mean, like, even just like Yuengling is an American company. They're owned by Americans. They employ Americans. They buy American products, other stuff too, obviously. But and people do. You walk into any bar, and like there are a lot of people that would much rather buy a Yuengling than a Budweiser because they feel like they're supporting something that is them, and like that is a powerful thing, especially when you look at the whole swath of the United States. Like that's important, and Budweiser lost a big chunk of that.
Yeah.
I don't know that it hurt them on the bottom line at all, but like, if you want to keep growing and keep progressing towards something else, maybe it did.
I agree, and I think that there's probably in that scope of people that are at Anheuser-Busch, there are probably a few people that are gonna, at some point, fracture and splinter off and try to decide to do their own thing and become, proprietors of their own business. They spark a passion in people, and for that, I'm not going to fully roast them, and I have stopped being as severely anti big beer as I had been prior to 2020. Because the people that work there are real people making an honest living, and I don't want to knock against that.
Yeah.
I support good people, and I don't support bad people.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
As that. Yeah. Last note that I had before the sip count and the multiple choice question, they had an incredible thought on how to get the younger generation back into the bars. Ban porn.
Yeah, so I guess Florida did that, right?
I don't know. I haven't been to Florida.
I think
there's no porn in Florida. I have a hard time believing there's no porn in Florida.
Like Pornhub and stuff, like some of the sites, I believe.
I only...
Or they banned it because they didn't want to agree to the like age checking measures that they wanted to put into place, something like that.
Yeah,
So they're just
I don't know.
we're just banning this site and stuff like
how
that.
do you-
I don't know. I have no idea.
There's always been you always have to say yes, I'm 18, right? Like that.
Yeah,
exists
but I think they
even
wanted-
on alcohol websites.
I
it
wouldn't
just
know.
says
Additional-
21.
I don't look.
But I think for some of those sites, they wanted to add, like the states wanted to have them add additional verification, like upload your driver's license. There's something else to do more than just.
I kind of agree with that. Like, I don't want to upload my driver's license to a porn site.
I don't know. I don't know if that
not.
was it. Moving on to the sip count, because again we are at 2 hours and it's time to shut this shit down.
Okay.
Mike took a total of 15 sips. Brett took 27 sips.
Oh,
All right.
He did good.
My guy.
That's a total of 42 countables, or 84 ounces, or 5.25 pints in this just over half an hour episode.
We have one more episode, don't we? Or is this it?
this is it.
This is it.
Oh, okay.
This is it. Multiple choice question, though.
Okay.
What does Gen X call wine? Is it A, juice boxes? Is it B, bottled tears? Or is it C, mommy juice?
Julia's a D.
Good Lord.
Mommy, I need some milk.
Oh, good Lord.
I feel like that thing gets bigger throughout the show. Is that possible?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
If for some reason
It's a
you
blood
like what we
thing.
have done
Yeah, I
tonight,
think it's science.
yeah, science. Science.
science. If for some reason you like what we have,
Beer.
Yeah.
just go to truthbeerpod.com. Links to absolutely everything, including how to sign up for Patreon. I've got absolutely
Links to
nothing.
every website we
Links-
mentioned in the show.
all
because
kinds of stuff linked and all kinds of stuff. What are you guys going to be doing next Tuesday, guys?
puts links to everything.
I'm going to go input my driver's license somewhere.
I'm going
and
to
see what
input
comes
something
up.
somewhere. Cheers, everybody.
Prost.
I'm going to